Dr. Jung Kim stared at the small device on his desk. It didn't look special, just a metal box with a few lights and dials. But Jun knew it was the most important thing he had ever made. The year was 2157. Humans had spread across the solar system. They had bases on the Moon and Mars. They sent messages to each other using the interstellar communication network. But no one had ever sent a message beyond our solar system and gotten an answer back. Jun wanted to change that. For 10 years, he had worked alone in his small lab on an orbital station circling Earth. Other scientists laughed at his ideas. They said his theories about subspace communication were wrong. The ICN officials had looked at his research and called it speculative at best. But Jun didn't give up. "Today is the day," he said to himself, his fingers moving over the device controls. "Today we find out if anyone is listening." The device hummed to life. Lights blinked in patterns as it warmed up. Jun checked the power levels. Everything looked good. He typed a simple message into the computer connected to the device. It wasn't words. It was a mathematical sequence, the first 20 prime numbers. Mathematics was the universal language. If anyone intelligent was out there, they would understand it wasn't random noise. Jun took a deep breath and pressed the send button. The device made a high-pitched sound. The lights flashed quickly, then settled into a steady rhythm. On the screen, a message appeared. Signal transmitted. Jun sat back in his chair. He had done it. His signal was traveling through subspace, moving in ways that standard communication couldn't. It would reach farther than any human message ever had. Now all he could do was wait. 3 days passed. Jun kept busy with other work, but he checked the receiver every few hours. Nothing came back. He tried not to feel disappointed. The universe was vast. If anyone heard his message, it might take years for them to respond, if they responded at all. On the 4th day, Jun woke to an alert from his computer. Half asleep, he walked to his desk and looked at the screen. Signal received. Jun froze. His heart beat faster. It had to be a mistake. Maybe his device was picking up an echo of his own signal. He sat down and examined the data. What he saw made his hands shake. The return signal contained a sequence of numbers, but they weren't the prime numbers he had sent. They were different. A response, not an echo. Someone, or something, had heard him and answered back. Jun ran a quick analysis. The pattern was complex but clear. It started with the same prime numbers he had sent, then continued the sequence with the next 30 primes. Then it shifted to a different mathematical concept, offering a solution to a famous unsolved problem in quantum physics. This wasn't random. This wasn't human. This was intelligent communication from something beyond our solar system. "This changes everything," Jun whispered, his eyes wide as he stared at the screen. He needed to send another message. But first, he needed help. He reached for his communication pad and called the one person he thought might believe him. "Hana, it's Jun. I need you to come to my station right away. I found something impossible." As he waited for her response, Jun looked out the window at the stars. One of them, or perhaps none of them, had just answered his call. The human had whispered to the void. And against all odds, the void had whispered back. Dr. Hannah Park arrived at Jun's orbital station 18 hours after his call. She stepped through the airlock, her eyes quickly finding Jun. He looked like he hadn't slept. "This better be good," she said. "I canceled 3 meetings to get here." Jun didn't speak. He just pointed to his screen. Hannah walked over and looked at the data. Her face changed from annoyance to shock. "Is this real?" she asked, her voice suddenly quiet. "Yes," said Jun. "I checked it 10 times. Something out there answered me." Hannah sat down. For 5 years, she had been the top xenolinguistics expert at the Korean Space Agency. Her job was to study how aliens might communicate, even though no aliens had ever been found. Until now. "The mathematics is clear," she said, studying the patterns. "But there's something else hidden in this message. She worked for hours, using special programs to analyze the signal. June watched as she found layer after layer of information hidden in the simple number sequence. "June," she finally said, "this is a blueprint." "A blueprint for what?" "A better transmitter, one that can send and receive more complex messages." Hannah looked up at him. "They want to talk more." For the next 3 days, they worked together to build the new transmitter. It wasn't easy. Some of the parts didn't exist yet. June had to create them using his station's small fabricator. When the new device was ready, they sent a message. This time, they included simple images and basic language patterns. The response came in just 2 hours. "That's impossible," June said. "Even through subspace, the signal should take longer to travel there and back." The new message was different. It contained pictures and what looked like an attempt at language. The images showed strange shapes that seemed to move in ways that didn't make sense in 3 dimensions. "I think they exist in a parallel dimension," Hannah said. "That would explain the fast response time. They're not far away in space. They're right here, just in a different layer of reality." Over the next week, communication improved quickly. The entity learned human language patterns at an amazing speed. It started to call itself Yun, a name it chose after studying Korean names. "We have heard your kind for decades." Yun's message said, "Many signals leak into our dimension, but yours was the first strong enough to notice clearly." "What are you?" June asked in their next transmission. "We are travelers," came the reply. "We move through what you call the void between dimensions. We have been watching many species. Yours is interesting. You build and explore even though your lives are short." Hannah and June looked at each other. This changed everything humans thought about the universe. "There's something else in this message," Hannah said, pointing to a pattern they hadn't decoded yet. When they finally understood it, they both became quiet. "It's a warning," June said softly. The message was clear. "You are not alone in reaching beyond your world. There are others in the void, dangerous others. And now that you have made your presence known, they know you exist." June looked at the small transmitter that had started everything. What had he done? "We need to tell someone about this," Hannah said, her voice serious. "Who would believe us?" "They'll have to believe us," she replied, "because according to Yun, we don't have much time left." June and Hannah spent the next 2 days gathering all their data. They needed proof before they told anyone about Yun and the warning. As they worked, an urgent message came in from Earth. 4 deep space probes have gone silent, the news reported. Scientists are puzzled by the simultaneous failure. June and Hannah looked at each other. Was it starting already? "We need to go to Earth now," Hannah said. They took the next shuttle down. 6 hours later, they sat in a meeting room at the Korean Space Agency headquarters in Seoul. 5 senior officials listened as June explained his discoveries. "So you're saying you contacted an alien intelligence from another dimension?" asked Director Tae, his face showing clear disbelief. "And now other aliens are coming to attack us." "I know how it sounds," June said, "but the math proves it. The signal is real." "And what about these probes that stopped working?" asked another official. "You think these, what did you call them?" "Voidwalkers," Hannah said. "That's what Yun calls them." "You think these voidwalkers destroyed our probes?" "We don't know for sure," June admitted, "but the timing matches what Yun warned us about." Director Tai stood up. "Dr. Kim, you're a respected scientist, but this is hard to believe. We need more than math and coincidences." "Sir," said an aide, rushing into the room with a tablet, "we've lost contact with the Europa research station." Everyone went quiet. The Europa station had 50 people on it. It was one of humanity's most important research centers. "When?" asked Director Ta. "Just now, sir. 1 minute it was sending regular updates, then nothing." June felt sick. Europa was much closer than the deep space probes. If the Voidwalkers were there, "Get me everything we have on the Europa station," Director Tae ordered. And Dr. Kim, Dr. Park, don't go anywhere. We need to talk more about this. Yun. 3 days later, a rescue ship reached Europa. The station was empty. All 50 people were gone. There were no signs of damage, no signs of a fight. Their last message mentioned strange readings coming from beneath Europa's ice. Then nothing. The world's governments finally started to listen to June and Hannah. A week later, they sat in a much bigger room with officials from every major space agency. June explained everything again. And this time, no one laughed. Ian says the Voidwalkers are drawn to developing civilizations, Hannah explained. Especially ones that start to experiment with dimensional physics, like your subspace transmitter, someone said. June nodded. They feed on conscious thought and technology. They've destroyed many civilizations that reached our level. How do we fight them? Asked a military officer. Ian says we can't. Not directly, June replied. But there might be a way to hide from them. He showed them Ian's latest message. It contained plans for a system that could hide Earth's technological signature. Ian's people have been hiding from the Voidwalkers for thousands of years, Hannah said. They'll help us if we help them develop a way to seal the breaches between dimensions. So we're making the deal with one alien to hide from another. Director Tay asked. Yes, Joan said. It's our only chance. As the meeting continued, another urgent message arrived. The mining colony on Mars, 300 people, had gone silent. The room fell quiet as everyone realized the truth. The Voidwalkers were getting closer, and Earth might be next. 2 weeks after the Mars colony disappeared, world leaders created the Earth Defense Initiative, EDI. They gave it unlimited resources and put Director Sung in charge. His first action was to make June and Hannah the lead scientists. We need to talk to this more, Director Sung said in their first meeting. We need to know everything about these Voidwalkers. June and Hannah moved their equipment to a new lab under the Korean mountains. 50 other scientists joined them. They built a more powerful transmitter based on Ian's designs. Ian, can you tell us more about the Voidwalkers? June asked in their next communication. The answer came fast. They are old, older than any civilization we know. They do not build or create. They only consume. Consume what exactly? Hannah asked. They feed on the energy of thought and technology. A developing species like yours is perfect food for them. They will take your minds first, then your machines. Images came through that showed what the Voidwalkers had done to other worlds. Empty cities, abandoned ships, entire planets where thinking beings had simply vanished. How do we stop them? Director Sung asked when June showed him the images. Yun says we can't fight them directly, June explained, but we can hide. Yun sent detailed plans for devices that could mask Earth's technological signature. They would make humans invisible to the Voidwalkers. But we need to act fast, Hannah added. They're getting closer. Teams around the world started building the hiding devices. Meanwhile, June and Hannah worked with Yun on a more permanent solution. The real problem is the breach between dimensions, June explained to Director Sung. My transmitter opened a small hole. Now the Voidwalkers are making it bigger. Can we close it? Sung asked. Yun thinks so, but we need special equipment placed at key points in the solar system. The plan was complex. They would build special beacons that, when activated together, would create a field that would seal the dimensional breach. What does Yun get from this? Director Sung asked, suspicious. Why is it helping us? Its people have been running from the Voidwalkers for thousands of years, Hannah said. This could help them too. Work continued day and night. The first hiding device was tested in Japan. It worked perfectly, creating a bubble where all technology was invisible to the void. Then came the breakthrough they needed. Yun sent plans for a master beacon that could strengthen the others. If placed at the right spot, it would seal the breach completely. There's just one problem, June told Director Sung. Someone needs to place it in the void between dimensions. How is that even possible? Sung asked. Ian says a human consciousness can be projected into the void, but it's dangerous. Sung nodded slowly. Who would volunteer for something like that? Before June could answer, an alert sounded. A research ship near Neptune had spotted something impossible, a tear in space itself. Through it, dark shapes moved, watching, waiting. The Voidwalkers are coming, Hannah whispered. Director Sung stood up, his face serious. How long do we have? Days, maybe hours, June said. We need to finish the beacons now. As they left the meeting room, June looked at Hannah. I know who has to place the master beacon. Who? Me, June said quietly. I opened the breach. I need to close it. Hannah started to argue, but she knew he was right. The fate of humanity now rested on June's shoulders, and on the trust they had placed in a voice from the void. Director Sung called an emergency meeting the next morning. His face was hard as he looked at the scientists around the table. We are running out of time, he said. The tear near Neptune is growing. We need to act now. He showed them a new plan on the big screen. It wasn't about hiding anymore. It showed weapons, huge machines called dimensional disruptors. What are these? Asked June, studying the designs. Weapons, said Sung, based on your technology. We can turn your transmitter into something that can hurt the Voidwalkers. June stood up quickly. That's not what we agreed to. We can't fight them directly. Yun said. I don't care what Yen said. Sung cut him off. I care about protecting Earth. We will place these disruptors at key points in the solar system. If the Voidwalkers come through, we hit them with everything we have. This is a mistake, Hannah said. We don't know enough about them. Attacking might make things worse. The decision has been made, Sung replied coldly. Construction of the first disruptor is already underway near Jupiter. June and Hannah looked at each other. This was bad. Very bad. That night, they met in June's private lab. We have to stop them, June said. If they activate that disruptor, it could tear the breach wide open. But how? Asked Hannah. The whole station near Jupiter is guarded. June showed her something on his computer. I can send a signal through Yun. It will disable the disruptor before they can use it. That's treason, Hannah whispered. I know, but it's the only way. They worked through the night, creating a special code. June sent it through the transmitter to Yun, who would pass it on to the disruptor. They didn't know that Director Sung had been watching them. The next morning, soldiers came to their lab. Dr. Kim, Dr. Park, you are under arrest for treason against humanity, a soldier said. They were taken away in handcuffs. From their cells, they could only wait and hope that their plan had worked. It hadn't. 3 days later, the Jupiter station activated the first disruptor. The machine powered up, aiming at the small tear in space near the gas giant. At first, it seemed to work. The tear started to shrink. People on the station cheered. Then something went wrong. Instead of closing, the tear suddenly grew much bigger. Alarms went off throughout the station. The tear was now a gaping hole between dimensions, and something was coming through. The station's cameras showed it, a dark, shifting shape that didn't stay the same for more than a second. It moved like smoke but seemed solid at the same time. A Voidwalker had entered our dimension. The people on the station had no chance. One by one, they stopped moving. Their eyes went blank. Their minds were gone in seconds. The Voidwalker consumed them all before the tear collapsed, taking the creature back to the void. 73 people were lost. The station was left floating, filled with empty bodies. Director Sung watched the recorded footage in horror. His plan had failed completely. Get Kim and Park out of their cells, he ordered. Now, when June and Hannah were brought to his office, Sung looked 10 years older. You were right, he said simply. We can't fight them. He showed them the footage. Hannah covered her mouth in shock. What do we do now? Sung asked, his voice shaking. We go back to the original plan, June said. We seal the breach, but we have to move fast. That disruptor made things much worse. How much time do we have? Asked Sung. June looked at the latest data from space telescopes. More tiers were forming throughout the solar system. Days, he said. Maybe less. All Earth Defense Initiative projects now fell under June and Hannah's control. Director Sung sat quietly in the corner during meetings, his confidence gone after the Jupiter disaster. We need to return to Yun's original plan, June told the team of scientists. The beacon network is our only hope. The plan was complex but clear. They would place quantum beacons at 12 points across the solar system. When activated together, these beacons would create a special frequency that would hurt the Voidwalkers. Think of it like a high-pitched sound that only they can hear, Hannah explained to the team. It won't kill them, but it will make them stay away. Engineers worked day and night to build the beacons. Space crews prepared to take them to their positions. But there was still one big problem. The master beacon, Jun said, pointing to the central part of their plan on the screen. It needs to be placed at the exact center of the dimensional breach. Where is that? Asked one of the scientists. Not where, Hannah corrected. When and where. The breach exists partly in our dimension and partly in the void. Someone needs to go into the void to place it. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. How would someone even do that? Director Sung asked, speaking up for the first time in days. Jun showed them designs for a special chamber. Using Yun's technology, we can project a human consciousness into the void. The person would exist between dimensions, able to see and interact with the void. Has this been tested? Someone asked. No, Jun admitted. But Yun has provided very detailed instructions. And who would volunteer for this? Sung asked, though he already knew the answer. I will, said Jun. I created the first breach. I should be the one to seal it. Hannah started to protest, but Jun stopped her. We don't have time to argue. The tiers are growing. The Voidwalkers are coming. This is the only way. Construction of the special chamber began immediately. It was a small room filled with strange equipment. At its center was a chair connected to many machines. While the chamber was being built, the first beacons were launched into space. Ships carried them to distant points in the solar system. Each one had to be placed with perfect precision. 3 days later, the chamber was ready. June and Hannah stood looking at it. I don't like this, Hannah said. We don't know what will happen to you in there. Ian says my consciousness will return to my body when the job is done, Jun replied. And you trust Ian completely? Jun hesitated. I have to. We all do. The next morning, final preparations were made. The master beacon, a small device that glowed with a soft blue light, was ready. Jun sat in the chair inside the chamber. Doctors attached sensors to his head and body. Engineers checked the machines one last time. Remember, Hannah told him, you need to place the beacon at the exact coordinates Yun gave us. Then activate it and get out immediately. Jun nodded. If I don't come back. Don't say that. Hannah cut him off. You're coming back. Director Sung approached them. Dr. Kim, on behalf of humanity. Thank you. Jun took a deep breath as the chamber door closed. Through the window, he could see Hannah, Sung, and the others watching him. Beginning dimensional projection in 10 seconds, a voice said over the speaker. Jun closed his eyes. He thought about Earth, about all the people counting on him. He thought about Hannah. 3, 2, 1. The machines hummed loudly. Jun felt a strange pulling sensation, like his mind was being stretched in impossible directions. Then everything went dark. Jun opened his eyes to nothing, and everything. The void wasn't black, as he had expected. It was filled with colors that had no names. Shapes that couldn't exist in normal space moved around him. Time felt wrong here, stretched and folded in ways his mind couldn't understand. Where am I? He tried to say, but no sound came out. Instead, his thoughts seemed to ripple through the space around him. "You are between," came a response. The voice was everywhere and nowhere. It felt like Yun, but different somehow. June looked down at himself. He had no body here, just a glowing shape that reminded him of his human form. In what would have been his hand, the master beacon floated, still glowing blue. "I need to place this," June thought. "Yes," the voice replied. "At the center." June moved through the void. He didn't walk. He simply thought about moving. And he moved. The world around him shifted and changed. In one direction, he saw Earth, but it looked strange, like a shadow of itself. In another direction, he saw darkness gathering. The Voidwalkers. They hadn't noticed him yet, but they were moving toward the tiers in space. Toward Earth. He needed to hurry. "Where is the center?" June asked. "Follow," the voice said. A path of light appeared before him. June followed it through the impossible landscape. As he moved deeper into the void, he began to see things that shocked him. Other worlds, other Earths, places where history had taken different turns. In one, he saw massive ships leaving a dying planet. In another, he saw a world covered in ice. "Time and space are not fixed here," the voice explained. "All possibilities exist together." Finally, June reached what felt like the center. It was a place where many paths crossed, a junction of realities. "Here," the voice said. "Place it here." June held out the beacon. It pulsed brighter as if it knew where it belonged. He let it go, and it floated to the exact center of the junction. "Now activate it," the voice instructed. June reached out with his mind and touched the beacon. It flared with brilliant light, sending pulses through all the paths that met at this point. "It's done," June said. "Now I need to get back." "Yes," the voice agreed. "But first, look." June turned and saw something unexpected. Not one Yun, but many. Dozens of glowing forms, similar to his own but different. They watched him from every direction. "I don't understand," June said. "Who are you?" "We are Yun," they replied together. "We are many who became one. A collective of minds that escaped the Voidwalkers long ago. Why didn't you tell me this before?" "You weren't ready to understand. Humans think as individuals. It is hard for you to grasp a shared consciousness." June felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. "The beacon is activated," he said. "I need to return now." "Yes," the voices said, but they didn't sound certain. "The way back is." Suddenly, darkness swept through the void. The Voidwalkers had noticed the beacon's activation. They moved toward it with terrifying speed. "Go," the voices of Yun shouted. "Follow your connection back." June didn't know how to do that, but he thought of his body, of Earth, of Hana. He felt a pull and moved toward it. The Voidwalkers were close now. One reached for him with a limb that seemed made of pure darkness. June pushed harder, following the thin thread that connected him to his body. The void blurred around him. The colors mixed and swirled. Then, with a jolt that felt like being torn apart and put back together, he was gone from the void. And back in his body, gasping for air in the chamber on Earth. June woke up in the medical center 3 days after his return from the void. Doctors moved around him, checking machines and talking in low voices. When he tried to sit up, Hannah rushed to his side. "Careful," she said, helping him. "You've been unconscious since you came back." "Did it work?" June asked, his voice rough. "Is the beacon active?" "Yes. All 12 beacons are in place, and the master beacon is sending signals." Hannah looked worried. "But something strange is happening. The tiers aren't closing as fast as Yun said they would." June wasn't surprised. After what he'd seen in the void, he had questions about Yun's true plans. "I need to tell you something," he said, "about Yun." But before he could continue, he felt a sharp pain in his head. He gasped and grabbed Hannah's arm. "June, what's wrong?" she asked, alarmed. The pain passed, but something was different. June could see patterns everywhere, in the air, in the light, in the walls around him. It was as if he had brought a piece of the void back with him. "I can see things," he whispered. "The void changed me." Over the next day, as June recovered, the changes became clearer. His mind worked differently now. He could see connections that were invisible before, and when he looked at the data from their communications with Yun, he saw something that had been hidden. "Get Director Sung," he told Hana. "I know what Yun really is." An hour later, June sat in a meeting room with Hana, Sung, and the top scientists. His hand shook slightly as he explained. "Yun isn't helping us," June said. "At least, not the way we thought." He showed them the patterns he had found in Yun's messages, subtle codes hidden within the data. Yun isn't a single being. It's a collective consciousness, an entire civilization that escaped the Voidwalkers by transferring their minds into the void itself. "How does that change things?" Sung asked. "Because their plan isn't to save us," June said. "It's to use us." The room went quiet as June explained what he had discovered. Yun's people had been trapped in a small part of the void for centuries, hiding from the Voidwalkers. They couldn't escape to a new dimensional pocket without creating a distraction. "The beacons," Hana said, understanding. "They're not meant to close the tiers or drive away the Voidwalkers." June nodded. "They're meant to create a permanent bridge between dimensions. When all the beacons activate together, they'll make a stable pathway, not to seal the breach, but to keep it open. And the Voidwalkers will come through," Sung said, his face pale. "Yes, they'll focus on Earth while Yun's collective escapes to a different part of the void." "We're bait," Hana whispered. "When will this happen?" Sung asked. June checked the beacon data. "The alignment is set for tomorrow at 800 hours. When the last beacon activates, the bridge will form." "Can we shut them down?" a scientist asked. "Not remotely," June said. "They were designed that way on purpose. Then we need to physically reach each beacon and shut it down." Sung said, "I'll send teams immediately." "There's no time," June replied. "But I have another idea." He explained his plan. It was dangerous and had little chance of success, but it was their only hope. "You want to broadcast a message to everyone in the solar system?" Sung asked, doubtful. "How will that help?" "What I learned in the void, what I brought back, isn't just knowledge," Jun said. "It's a way to connect human minds through quantum entanglement. If enough people receive and understand the message, we can create a shield that the Voidwalkers can't break through." "Is that even possible?" Hana asked. "I don't know," June admitted. "But it's all we have left." The clock showed 700 hours, 1 hour until the beacons would fully activate. June sat at the main transmitter, typing quickly. Hana and Director Sung watched anxiously. "Are you sure this will work?" Sung asked. "No," June admitted, "but we have to try." The plan was bold but simple. June would send a special message to every communication device in the solar system. The message would contain what he had learned in the void, a way for human minds to connect briefly through quantum entanglement. If enough people understand and focus at the same time, their combined consciousness will create a barrier that the Voidwalkers can't cross, June explained. "And Yun?" Hana asked. "Their collective will be exposed. They won't be able to hide anymore." June finished the message. It contained images, sounds, and a simple explanation of what people needed to do. He took a deep breath and pressed send. The signal went out, reaching Earth, Mars, the Moon, and every ship and station. Billions of screens lit up with June's message. People everywhere stopped and watched. "The message is out," June said. "Now we wait." At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then reports started coming in from around the world. People were feeling strange connections to others. Some could sense thoughts that weren't their own. "It's working," Hana whispered. The beacons started to glow brighter as they neared full activation. On screens around the command center, scientists watched as the dimensional tiers grew larger. 7 minutes until full activation. Someone called out. June closed his eyes. He could feel it, millions of minds beginning to connect. But it wasn't enough yet. They needed more. Something's coming through the tiers, an operator shouted. Dark shapes appeared on the screens. Voidwalkers were pushing through into our dimension. At the same time, other shapes, glowing forms like the ones June had seen in the void, were moving toward different tiers, trying to escape. That's M's collective, June said. They're making their move. 5 minutes, the countdown continued. The connection between human minds grew stronger. June could feel people from all over Earth joining, then people from moon bases, Mars colonies, and space stations. A network of human consciousness was forming. 3 minutes. The Voidwalkers were coming through faster now. People near the tiers reported their minds feeling cold, empty. The predators were beginning to feed. 1 minute. Suddenly, June felt something massive, a wave of human thought rising up together. Billions of minds united in a single moment of understanding and purpose. He opened his eyes and saw Hannah looking at him in wonder. She felt it too. Now, June whispered. The human consciousness surged outward. It wasn't a physical force, but something more powerful, an assertion of existence and will. It pushed against the tiers, against the Voidwalkers, against N's collective. The Voidwalkers recoiled. They hadn't expected this. Humans weren't just prey. They were something new, something that could fight back in a way no other species had. The beacons reached full power, but instead of creating a bridge for the Voidwalkers, they became conduits for the human consciousness. The tiers began to close. One's collective was trapped. They appeared in the command center as glowing forms, visible to everyone now. You've changed the equation, they said together. This was not predicted. We're human, Jun replied simply. We don't follow predictions. As the last tiers closed, a strange peace filled the room. The human minds began to separate, returning to individual consciousness, but something remained, a subtle connection, a reminder that they were not alone. The Voidwalkers retreated back to their dimension. Ian's collective, no longer able to hide, revealed their full history and knowledge to humanity. The void had whispered to a human, and now humanity had whispered back, not a single voice, but billions united. And the universe had listened.